Hey everybody, welcome to Left Turn at Alcatraz, the only sports show that comes from the most evil city in the world. No, not Tripoli. No, we're not talking Moscow. Nope, not even talking Chicago. We're talking about Berkeley, California. Evil just seething through the streets. It's unbelievable. It's just a river of blood here every day from all the crime and the rampant free thought that portrays through our thing. If your town can scare the Republican Party more than any other city, that makes you the most evil city in the world. What do the Republicans fear from our city? It just astounds me. Could it be free thought?
Of course.
Now, we're going to have our show today. We're going to talk about everybody's favorite player of all time, Colin Kaepernick. What a guy. Can you believe it? He's not only making NFL records, he's not even playing. That's amazing. And with a lot of controversy, a lot of worldwide news on this guy. Does he deserve it? Do we deserve it? Does the NFL deserve it? We're going to go to my little cohort in crime here, and we are broadcasting live from Berkeley. Bruce Kessinger.
Okay, my thoughts. The man from Turlock. Yes, he's getting the controversy, and he did. He has also got an agent who decided that he should not get a option on his contract with the Niners and opt out when he had multi-millions of dollars that were at his hand, and he probably was not going to get a first-string job in that kind of money from somewhere else.
You are jumping the gun a little. First of all, for our listening audience, Turlock is a little city nestled between Fresno and Bakersfield. It's in the middle of the state, and it is farm country like you've never seen. California farms compare to the best in the world. Not trying to brag here. You know, who cares about Silicon Valley? Who cares about Hollywood? Not me. I don't even go to movies anymore. But Bakersfield, Turlock is the backwoods of our state, the greatest farm country in the planet. And Colin Kaepernick was a hero there. He went to a local university, University of Nevada. There was Mountain West. Nobody heard of the guy. Back then, everybody was rooting for Boise State. And Boise State was, you remember they were talking about, they should be in the national rankings. Well, they're 12-0. Guess what? They were not 12-0 because they were getting whooped by Colin Kaepernick and the Nevada Wolfpack. This is the history he started. He's always been as an underdog on an underdog team. And when Harbaugh made him the pick, everybody was like, what? You know, I doubt 20% of Niner fans even knew who the hell he was, or that he even played. I followed the guy since his college days. I loved him. I love anybody that makes the Mountain West or Pac-10 good. I think they have a lot of disrespect. It's San Diego State, Boise State, Nevada once in a while gets in there. It's a great division, middle of the mountains, so they get no respect from the East Coast, as they say, West Coast bias. I didn't mean to cut you off on that. I just wanted to talk. Let's set the guy up with a little bit. You know, besides everybody knows that he has hair like a giant teddy bear. Tell me what you know about Kaepernick, other than his Super Bowl antics.
I can tell you right now that you said I think Bakersfield and Turlock are more of an armpit of the world. Myself,
farm country.
Sorry, my bias. And
city boy,
and W.
Well, you're from the most evil city. You actually born and bred in the most evil city
and
in the
educated
world. In the most evil city in the world.
Yes, indeed, and. It's not all mountains there. Fresno State's quite flat if you want to get down to it.
Well, that mountain but over Bishop, that's pretty.
Wow, you're really whatever.
That's the boonies.
With Kaepernick, your knowledge of Kaepernick is far better than mine. I actually didn't know where he came from until I saw the draft and the Niners had taken him.
You were one of those 80%.
I was in the 80%. Yeah. My opinion on the whole situation is. It's a great big cluster bleep with this and the whole Nike thing. I think the Donald Trump it was fading and Trump made it worse by continuing his tirades. So in a certain way, he's made Kaepernick a hero and a villain. It's a polarizing situation.
Well, I want to go into that Trump thing, too. We're going to continue. I think he did it as a distraction. He's looking for distractionary tactics, and this is a tentacle of that distractionary tactic. It's fantastic. That's what makes this so great. Here's a guy that's getting screwed over. He's lost his contract. That was stupid on his part, and now he's going to get some money back, and that's what drives these people nuts. And that's what's great. It's like Nike is doing, to me, they're doing the fair thing. They're reciprocating this guy for taking a stand, for asking for his right to protest, for his right of freedom of speech. You have no right to sit there and squelch on that. You make me sit down. See, now, the thing with Trump, which was really kind of narcissistic, I'm a veteran. Many of our guys on the show are veterans. Doesn't bug me about these guys. It bugs the season ticket holder of the NFL. All the NFL had to do was stop putting it on TV. All you have to do, and then all you got to worry about is explaining to a bunch of idiots that overpaid for their season tickets anyways, and for a garbage team or whatever, says, yeah, we'll fix this. There's nothing to fix. Protest is protest. Freedom of speech is freedom of speech. There is no alternative here. But the government's squelching of this freedom of speech is the interesting factor. And I think this is where Nike catches on. They really saw this. They realize it's going to be controversial. Guess what? All those guys that are mad burning their shoes, why don't you give your shoes to the homeless? Why don't you go down to the Goodwill and take all your Nike shoes that you don't want because you're so insulted? Oh, my God. Don't burn the shoes. What are you doing? Just causing a hazmat fire? Thanks. You know what burned rubber does to the air? It's ridiculous. You guys could have gave all your shoes to the homeless, but you won't do that. You're way too racist. You can't. You have to burn your shoes. Give them to the homeless? Are you kidding me? No, that would be terrible. But that's just my little opinion.
Well, the homeless, here's the problem, man. You give Air Jordan to the homeless, can their team really leap and slam? Yeah. I don't know, man. It won't be the shoes. I think it's an interesting business move. I don't see how the NFL can stop it. You're going to get some people on board who are not necessarily Nike wearers, but will be now. And is everybody going to boycott the NFL or Nike because they've endorsed Colin Kaepernick? No, it's an interesting conundrum. I'm
going to go with this, and I agree with that. I'm going to go with, I don't think you pissed off the people that were going to buy your shoe anyway.
Right.
Okay, so here's the thing. Now you have three markets. Okay, there's the middle, which is us. Mm-hmm. We don't care. That's their right. They want to, they could sit there and take a knee during the national anthem and says, I hate Trump. If I was living in the NFL right now, that's what I would do. I would take a knee. The minute I get all these reporters on me, I go, why are you kneeling? I said, because Trump's a total fool and we work for the Russians, or whatever you want to say. I wouldn't say, Trump came out with his BS and said, they do it because they hate police force and good, honest police cops that are doing their job and actually helping their community. No, that's not what the protest is about. You want to make believe that, and when you're talking to your idiot constituents, yeah, that stuff flies because you remember, you're selling this to a bunch of idiots. Okay? We're not going to get into sitting there with the is this right or wrong aspect. It's a thing of, why are you telling people in the press that this is against the flag and against police officers and firefighters and our veterans? What a load of BS. How dare you use veterans to sit there and sell your political agenda? But it's nothing new from the Republican Party. I'm not going to bag on them. I'm not crazy about the Democrats either. At least the Democrats got Osama bin Laden. So out of the yin and yang of that one, I'm going to give the Democrats. a plus on that. Yeah, I know. We're going off.
Okay. Now, with football being visuals, I don't say they voice their opinion about Trump. I say they hold up placards when they are on their knees because everybody will see it. Talking about it doesn't work. And advertising, I've never understood advertising because I've never been a believer in it per se. I don't think I've bought a product because it's advertised. I've usually gotten word of mouth from my friends, but
the masses. You're
okay. Here's the problem.
So
I'm in a hole here because it means if I say they're idiots, then I'm being very, very snotty. And if I can't say that. I haven't succumbed to advertising yet. However, the politicizing of it is bad. And Jerry Jones, what a hilarious jerk he is.
Well, he's a plantation sharecropper.
Good, great Sherman,
Absolutely.
Great Sherman quote. He wouldn't pay him if he didn't have to.
I love cotton T-shirts.
Let's see, and here we go. You let Des Bryant beat up his mama. You had Michael Irvin snorting more cocaine than Columbia. They took on Hardy well after it was acknowledged that he was quite the violent person with his wife. And you let him
Ezekiel Elliott fought tooth and nail, like he was on death row and killed. You're right.
You let them play. You let them play for committing an actual crime, and the guys who are protesting are exercising a right. This is kind of an alternate right.
It could be a crime if the Republicans win the midterms, but for right now, it is not a crime. Absolutely,
indeed. So, are we going to continue with Mr. Kaepernick, or do we want to move on?
We are going to go now to Jerry Jones because I love that you brought that yo-yo up. Here's an owner who tried to, and his motivation, he tries to run a coup against the NFL. Goodell.
I remember that.
And it was so hilarious. Because he goes into a meeting with a bunch of these owners, says, "Hey, we want to take over. This is blah blah blah." He wasn't motivated by his profit margin. He wasn't motivated. He wasn't motivated by his team or his. He was motivated that they were suspending a criminal act for 6 games, and he was losing the appeal. That's why he was crying and bitching. There was no political motivation there whatsoever, just a little unbelievable self-loathing or whatever you want to call it. And that yo-yo goes to these owners and says, "Hey, let's have a coup." And most of the owners says, "We don't like you. You're not anything that we want to back." And they shot him down like a duck in hunting season. And I loved it. I thought, it's the one of the few times the NFL actually went out of their little, what I call mafia mode, and did the right thing by telling Jerry Jones where to put it. And that was great. Jerry Jones is exactly the type of owner that's dealing with this Kaepernick problem. The thing with Kaepernick I was going to mention earlier is that you do have people now buying shoes. I didn't even think about it on a U.S. level. Then I'm watching PBS, I'm watching CBS, I'm watching all these major news channels, and they were fascinating on the business angle. It says, "Yeah, you pissed off a few rednecks down here, blah, 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 but look at all this market you just picked up." He says, "You picked up the entire urban youth in one swoop, and now these guys would have bought any tennis shoe that was at the store, whatever they can get, whatever they can afford, and now they're going to, I want a Nike." You've completely changed the mind structure of at least a third of the population of the U.S. Now, let's go on a global market. How many people think America's this and that and blah, blah, blah? I got news for you. Nike's going to sell them shoes just as much, a hell of a lot more than they were going before this little thing happened. You notice Trump has not really said anything about it. He said a little, but he's actually, for a guy that tweets about his problems, tweeted at least 1,000 times. There was no collusion with Russia. I started, it works too, because after the 950th tweet, I started believing him. So it was like, well, I'm not saying I completely believe the guy, but.
Okay, so the Joseph Goebbels theory about telling a lie enough is going to get the truth. And he hasn't had a chance to tweet back. Let's face it, this is 24-hour news. He'll come up with something, trust me, on the Kaepernick situation.
I am the most non-committed, lazy, kickback, do-nothing kind of guy you've ever met. Bruce was my boss for a few years, so he knows exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm going to tell you, I actually want to give everybody Nike sneakers for Christmas. So, Bruce, what's your shoe size?
I'm a 10, and
there you go.
I was going with New Balance, but now I don't know.
Okay, no, I didn't want to give you your present away. So that was it. I know we kind of babbled there. We went on. We love the Nike take. Kind of in the similar vein, I want to go. I want to not attack this guy, even though he completely 100% deserves it. But I want to talk about Papa John. And this guy, we don't even know his real name. I don't want to know his real name.
We know it's John.
Is it?
I don't know.
I have no idea if it's John. Okay, so Papa John. I don't know if everybody's familiar with the story, but he was referring to these protests. His pizza sales were down on a quarterly profit. So, of course, at a board meeting, like some moron, and this is the exact type of people that we are protesting when we go through this, is he starts throwing away racial slurs, that they're the reason that these racial slurs are the reason that his pizza sales are down. No, Papa John. How do you have so much money when you are so stupid? I cannot believe you. It says, this rant of yours where you came out and defiled, your own talk, you did it. You probably killed a lot of sales. You probably killed more sales than any protest in the NFL. The NFL as a product right now has a great love. People love it. I love the NFL. It's the only thing on TV I love to watch. Baseball, I can listen on the radio. Hockey, radio broadcasters are 10 times better than anybody on TV. But football, you got to kind of watch it. You got to see the catch. You got to see the
visual
hit. It's the visual game. So, of course, TV goes out of its way to market it. And the thing is they peaked. They have too many problems. Their mishandling of this protest situation. They're conjuring to the wrong guys. It's like these guys are not adding anything that's going to make. They've left San Diego. They're leaving Oakland. There's a lot of you have 9/10 of the state of California hate your guts. Where are you going to retrieve that San Diego money? San Diego put 70,000 people in there. He said people don't like you for various reasons. There's no place left for you to expand. Going to Mexico and London is great for introducing the game to two foreign countries, but it's not going to add any money to your coffers, other than a little merchandising sales maybe. And the whole thing with this NFL, your Papa John garbage, is you don't think everybody saw at the Super Bowl how over the top that was, you kissing Peyton Manning, which, by the way, is one of the greatest gay moments in sports history to this date. It was at Levi Stadium, San Francisco, Super Bowl 50 miles away, goes out there, he wins the Super Bowl, walks over, and Peyton Manning kisses Papa John. I'm not kidding you. I've never seen. What was I watching? What was that cowboy movie? Brokeback Mountain.
Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah, I said, what are they going to go into the locker room together? Come on, and you don't think that was so over the top that everybody knew how contrived it was? I'm sorry, I'm going on this rant with this, but that's the kind of person you are. And the fact that you're too stupid to hold your tongue at a board meeting and put out these slurs, I love it. I hope that you lost millions and millions of dollars because of this. Because, I don't like redneck pizza anyway.
Well, yeah, the pizza was the first reason that he lost money.
Right.
And the second is it's...
redneck pizza is much better than Chicago,
New York.
New York.
Dallas,
come on.
Yeah, Boston.
An Alabama pizza is...
Alabama pizza.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I want to come one more thing about Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning goes out and he has millions of dollars. Okay, That's a problem with the system we have, is we're handing this money to basically businessmen with the IQ of a chimpanzee. Peyton Manning bought 18 Papa Johns. Why? Because of business acumen? Because he analyzed it, said 18 is the perfect number of franchises to buy to make a certain amount of money off of the money that he was already paid, that he could have just kept in a bank and drew an interest. No, he bought 18 because that's his uniform number. What business acumen? What genius? Harvard and Yale are going to study this economic genius for years to come, because he says, wow, he bought 18 franchises because it's his uniform. Thank God he wasn't 57, or he'd be eating toast right now. Back to you, Bruce.
The Peyton Manning thing, and talking about stupid people, I mean, we could talk about the Mark Davises of the world later on.
We're going to go to the Raiders at the end of the show. Yeah.
Sure. Peyton is one of those guys that I don't consider stupid or smart. I think he's basically an average, intelligent guy who had a lot of talent, who came out and did his job, blah blah blah. But he was popular enough. There was never any controversy stirred with him. This guy just straight up played football, won Super Bowls, set records, and an opportunity was presented to him. And he's a good self-promoter. You notice nothing about the private life, anything like that. You don't know him. And that's the thing, is he can always present himself in a certain way, and it's going to stand. It's milquetoast. It's going to be that always. So, you promote your Papa John's, your State Farm, or whatever, and you are just a good football player, not really anything
nationwide.
Was it insurance? Was that State Farm? No, it
Remember?
was Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side. Yeah, I got it.
No, we had a joke. This was back on Sirius Satellite, but our joke was that at the time that commercial was that we were going, Osweiler took my job.
Oh, yeah, I forget. State Farm is basketball.
Well, it's Aaron Rodgers, too.
Aaron Rodgers now State Farm. Oh, yeah, that's a cute one with the dog.
Right.
And that's sweet. I love
Only
that.
if he actually took a chunk out of Clay Matthews' leg. But that didn't happen. So,
man, those Queensland Heelers are smart dogs. My thing on the whole Papa John's thing is I was never interested in the pizza. I was barely interested in the owner. In fact, it didn't even come, and nothing until he was saying the guys lost him money as far as the protests were concerned. That was the first even hint that I'd seen the commercials, like, oh, Peyton Manning's promoting a pizza, great, a pizza I don't eat. And then this comes up and it's like, wow, that's out of left field and kind of stupid. And then he follows it up with more stupid. Now, I don't know if he's self-made, whether he inherited it or not. That's where the Mark Davis thing comes in, by the way. It's like kind of, I don't know enough about that guy's background. I just know that he's a rich idiot.
Right, and I'm not nothing against restaurant franchising. I get it, but it's like the leader of Domino. Okay, you made pizzas, get it. You sell franchises, get it. People make money because they franchise your thing. Papa John's. The only thing I got with him was Peyton Manning and Papa John. That Super Bowl thing bugged me so much. Okay. What is the ultimate goal of every NFL player? Not obviously to collect a big contract like Khalil Mack, who we'll be discussing later, but we are talking about winning the Super Bowl. How do you pervert winning a Super Bowl with a kiss, an obvious advertising gimmick where you kiss a guy because he sells pizzas and you just bought 18 franchises? Okay. You're supposed to be enjoying yourself. You're partying, hugging about... I'd be tackling cheerleaders myself. What are you doing going in the middle of the field and kissing Papa John? It's so contrived, so obvious, and it's sad. I mean, you took the greatest moment, your second greatest moment. I'm assuming the first was your first Super Bowl victory. I'm assuming that your loss to the Saints was not a happy moment. I would understand a kissing Papa John's after that, maybe,
More like kissing ass.
Unbelievable. That's what bugs me. And this racial controversy couldn't happen to a nicer guy. You think that your BS is actually coming across on anybody from the United States? Come on, we're TV zombies. We know everything on TV. We see something like that, we know if it's staged or not. That's half the internet right now. Is this staged or is this real? Is this BS? guess what? Yeah. There you go. Sorry. I hope I didn't offend 16 or 17 of those groups that get offended, but I do that anyways.
I'm shocked and appalled by your offending. It's you're going to see Peyton Manning just do what he does best. He's just going to fade into the background, and you're not going to know what his opinion was about what the guy said, and he hasn't voiced it yet. So this is just going to fade. Peyton Manning is going to slowly back out or own his 18 franchises and no more. And Peyton Manning is
he's got plenty of money.
He's got plenty of money.
No, he's not doing
he's somebody who can fade into the background without tarnishing a public image because he didn't say it, and he probably wouldn't have said it. He's smart enough to do that. He's played with black players.
Yeah.
That's the thing. This is an executive versus an athlete. Not versus, but this is an athlete who'll recognize, oops, this partnership is probably done. I will sort of fade into the background without saying too much, and that's what is going to happen.
Well, that's most of Trump's staff right now. So,
what staff?
They're fading into
the back. Right, yeah. Where is Rex Tillerson when we need him? Well,
let's go. We're going to go into football here. I was going to do baseball, but you know what? Let's.
We got opening week coming up. Come on, a little bit of football starts, and baseball is starting to plant. You're starting to see it come to its sort of not fruition for certain teams, obviously fruition, but
we're going to go quick. We're going to just me and you. We're back and forth. Oh, and also, if you want to call the show, we're at 347-205-9631. That's any of our shows. We have a Mark Mancini Sports, and we have a show in Atlanta, Primetime in Atlanta, and we have Dawn, who's great on her. She has a magic show on Mondays, and she has her commentary show right after ours on Wednesdays, and we have the L.A. West Coast. But those yo-yos are a bunch of Dodger and Laker fans, so nobody cares. And Friday we have our health show, and of course you can hear Mark on Sirius Sports Network on Friday nights with Fred Waller. Great show. Gets great guests, baseball guys for people that you've never heard of, but they're so fascinating. And that's on Friday nights on Sirius Channel 93 and 214, I believe. Sports Overnight America is the name of that show. But back to this. Our football... On our baseball, I'm sorry. We're going to go back to football in a few seconds here. Let's just go with division playoffs. Who do you like? I don't care about which teams are actually eliminated or not eliminated. Who's your division final, and who's your World Series champ? Bruce.
I like the Giants.
Oh, man, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they're almost 500.
They're not technically eliminated yet.
Yeah.
I'm not going to even speculate on what happens in the West. It's just too much of back and forth, and you don't know who is going to win the NL West. I'm talking.
Right.
The East is still kind of and the Central. I mean, then the East being what it is. The Braves are going to run away with this. I don't see the Phillies doing anything at all at this point. They've got injuries, people coming back. I see fading there.
Yeah, no, but like I said, let's just go. I'm gonna go with. I would love the A's to pull the greatest upset by Atlanta.
Too much.
I remember at the beginning of the season, I told everybody it was going to be an Atlanta-Oakland World Series. Mm-hmm. I think you remember that, don't you?
Yeah, and I remember I laughed at the Oakland part. But go on.
I didn't say Oakland until the Padres series in San Diego, and then. But I'm going to go with Houston is the champs. It's Red Sox, a team that's going to win 100 games in August. Well, they're not quite there, but pretty close. You can't go against them. But I'm going to take Houston over Boston on the fact that just Houston is the champs. Hopefully they get their bullpen problem. When you get into the playoffs, too, you kind of take a 10-man 10-man pitching staff, and you turn it into like 7. So you're going to just be playing your best 7 players.
Yeah,
So I'm going to give, and they've had the edge over Boston. So
yeah, I kind of like Houston a little bit more. I agree. A lot of it has to do with not that I've ever liked the Astros, but I do like their players, And the Boston Red Sox, I've just hated since they became the Yankees as far as contracts were concerned. Of course,
they had to compete, though.
Yeah, from 1918 until whatever, the curse of Babe Ruth. Yeah, I guess they had to do that because generations of fans were never going to see them win anything, so they had to do it.
And I'm going to go with, this sounds goofy, but I like Milwaukee. I want to say Milwaukee and the Cubs because
I could see. The thing is, I don't know. It's really up for grabs in the NL.
Yelich is kind of playing so far.
I like Yelich.
Yeah,
I thought that was the one. The Stanton trade was like, okay, I guess you had to do it with that fat contract, but Yelich,
they're
dumb.
Yeah. Stanton is also it is the Yankees minor league affiliate.
Sure, but
the Miami
the Yelich thing was that when they traded Yelich, it's like, okay, you really don't want to win this season. That was the one thing I was like.
I thought they did that with D. Gordon a couple of years ago.
I was
like, what are you idiots?
Well, Yelich has got a lot more D. Gordon speed, and I'll get on base, which isn't bad. Yelich has got a lot more. I think he's a lot more of whatever tool player he is than Gordon is.
I also believe the other NL team will be the winner of the NL West. I pray it's not the Dodgers, but I've learned that whatever I root for doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to throw.
So why are we making these predictions then?
Well, the thing is, I'm going to go with the winner of that on a blanket level, which I'll go even Colorado. I think Colorado.
Well, that's the reason I didn't even bother with the NL West. It's like you've got three teams that are going.
Well, I think the winner of the dogfight is going to be worth
World
something.
Series.
Yeah,
I don't. If the winner of the dogfight, if it was the Dodgers and they're healthy, they could beat the other teams. I'm
not going to give the NL West over the Cubs. I'm
saying the Dodgers could, but not the other teams. There it is. Especially
Cubs, Boston on paper.
Yeah,
And the differences would be obviously Houston. Yeah. Cleveland, like it's a percentage thing. It's like what percent does Houston have?
So you still don't think the Giants could possibly
500? Absolutely. But
yeah.
I'm the first to predict this on this show. The Giants will be 500 in a division with three teams fighting for first place.
Right. I think they're
that, believe it or not, is very good in baseball.
I say they're 80 and 82. And by the way, the team that no one's talking about that obviously isn't going to get them being 20 games back, look at those Tampa Bay Rays.
No,
they're
that's
11 or 12 games over
right.
500. You're
teaching these kids how to win.
Yeah, but here's the deal. Here's the deal. You've got, and it's kind of like the Billy Ball days. They managed to keep their team in it before, and now this team is 11 games over 500. You almost have
farther more now.
It's 11 or 12.
Yeah.
I know this, and the thing here is, do you take a gamble because they're a money losing team on trying to keep that team together for another year or just continue to do the prospecting? Because if they're going to compete in that division, they've got to win, and they have to win now.
I don't see anybody on this Tampa Bay team demanding a giant contract that is not affordable.
Blake Snell.
You think he'll...
Blake Snell, you've got two pitchers on there that are like...
They already got rid of Archer to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, well, that was okay.
Yeah.
The Snell, and there's another guy there. I can't remember his name, but he's like 16 and 8. You've got two people there. Manager obviously knows what he's doing, and admirable for him coming after Joe Madden, do what he has done. Their trade,
it was fantastic.
And the trades that they made, I mean, Tommy Pham, that wasn't a bad pickup.
They were predicted for dead last.
Yeah,
in that
and
division.
you had
Sporting News.
as the Giants already knew, they traded a good player, Matt Duffy, if he doesn't stay hurt. I kind of like it's kind of an interesting little kind of a aside there with the Rays.
No, and to win in a division where one team is going to win 110 and the other is going to win 100.
And basically,
there's not a lot of wins.
Basically,
there.
Your payroll is 1/10 of the combined Red Sox Yankees payroll. So I'm kind of kudos to the Rays.
And you also have Toronto, who completely sold the team. They got rid of
I don't.
Donaldson's gone now.
Yeah, but I kind of agree with Donaldson at this point. He was hurt a lot.
Could he be a difference maker in Cleveland? Could he?
Listen, you know how much
I didn't know Cleveland was hurting at third base, though. I thought their third base.
I would love to see the Cleveland Indians do something, but I don't think it's possible.
Nice.
Okay, and so then in going into other things, my stupid football move right now is the Buffalo Bills trading McCarron, and they're going.
And where did he go? To the Raiders?
The Raiders, yeah. And then
what is with him? Why is he? Everybody acts like when they go to that team, he's the savior. You know,
well, he's not the savior. But remember that one game where the Bengals had Pittsburgh by the throat in the playoffs, and McCarron started. He had a pretty good game, and really he wasn't at fault there. That was the implosion of the defense personally fouling everybody on Pittsburgh's team so they could score the winning points on that. And that was where I thought, frankly, Marvin Lewis,
Yeah.
Marvin Lewis should have been fired, because when your players are out of control, especially on defense, and he is a defensive coach, he should have been fired at that point. McCarron gets signed as a free agent by Buffalo, and then they trade him so that you don't think Josh Allen's ready. You put up Nathan Peterman. Nathan Peterman strikes, the name just strikes fear into the heart of people. Nathan Peterman.
I hate to be an idiot. Where is he, college?
Dartmouth. He was Dartmouth.
Oh,
and he played, remember, you saw him in the playoff game when Tyrod Taylor got hurt. He started another game where they decided to bench him, and he was downright awful. So he had a decent preseason.
That's our sister school. I went to UC San Diego, University of California, San Diego.
Okay.
And our sister school is Dartmouth.
Oh, God.
Just send us your
Oh,
way.
God.
I know. It's
anyway,
terrible. It's a terrible thing.
Yeah, that shouldn't even be brought up on national radio. But the thing here is, Peterman against the Ravens. Ravens was 7. This is my sorry gambling, folks. I'm taking the Ravens. It's at home.
No, that's what we want to hear.
Yeah,
I think it's a little early. What about Niners in Minnesota?
6 points in Minnesota. That's a real tough call.
Tough calls. When we say a tough call, that means don't bet it.
Yeah.
In other words, we want to give you the winner, right? In other words, it's like my college football bets. If it doesn't hit by a touchdown or more, I get upset.
Okay. We're also looking at opening day. So is Kirk Cousins going to be all that? I also, by the way, just another aside, I like the Saints picking up Teddy Bridgewater. That was smooth. You got the
from the Jets.
Yeah, they've basically said Darnold's your starter. McCown is going to be the backup, and they signed some other guy to do it. So yeah, Teddy Bridgewater.
Did you follow him at all to preseason?
Who, Bridgewater?
Yeah, does he?
Bridgewater was doing fine. Otherwise, I don't think Sean Payton would have taken him. Bridgewater is going when Breeze is gone. Bridgewater's their quarterback. That's what I think is in store here.
Yeah.
Because if he is fully recovered from this, Sean Payton doesn't have to groom him. He's already been groomed. He started for a couple of years, and he did well. If that injury hadn't happened, he'd still be starting for the Vikings.
The only thing with Bridgewater is, and I love this fact of football, is I think he's a great quarterback. I think he's got all the talent. But when you have a killer defense, that makes you look a lot better than you are.
All right, well, let's go here with the Saints. They did draft young on the defensive backs, and there's a real good chance that defense is going to improve. And I'm I like the trade. I like that, and I think Sean Payton made a smart move. And is there any other thing? I don't know if I have enough time for a tirade about Mark Davis and the Khalil Mack thing.
Well,
I think
we're going to go to that trade because that's kind of like our end game. We're going to go to the Raiders. We're obviously a Bay Area, and the Raiders, last time I checked, are still in Oakland.
Yeah,
I hope.
Although the city is suing them, and they may be forced to leave by the end of next season if the suit wins.
Okay, they can go play at the Charger Stadium.
Well, no,
and actually get some fans.
Sam Boyd Stadium, UNLV. That was I was talking to somebody else about the StubHub angle.
Yeah, we'll put
so
no, if they play in LA, they'll actually fill the stadium.
But the one thing is that we make this quick. There's no question in my mind Gruden had a hand in this. You're paying a coach $10 million. What's your general manager going to think or do? McKenzie, defensive guy. Gruden, offensive guy. Khalil Mack, defensive player of the year. I look at Gruden thinking he's going to overcome this. And another sort of point thing: over/under. Take the Rams Raiders. 36 of the 49 points should be scored by the Rams.
Nice. You know what? I'm gonna let's go. I'm gonna go long term with you on this. We discussed this earlier about Khalil Mack. The thing is this owner is leaving for Las Vegas. He's kind of like Donald Sterling when he had the Clippers. Mm-hmm. Went to all these Clipper games in San Diego, sat in the front court. Every time mentioned, he was booed. You know, and later Donald Sterling was kicked out of the NBA, which, for the reason that he got kicked out, I'm not a big fan of. The fact that he did get kicked out, because I always thought he was a slug for moving the Clippers, was fantastic. I have no love for Spanos. All these owners are what I call inheritance brats.
Mm-hmm.
They've never wanted for a day in their lives. If your dad owned an NFL team and you're sucking on a teething ring or whatever, a pacifier, and I'm talking about in their 20s and 30s, you're useless. Okay, you have no. If I thought for 1 second, like Mark Davis or Spanos sat there as a kid when they were 10 years old and analyzed every part of the Raiders like their dad's team, I would say, great, welcome aboard, good luck. You already know what's going on. But I know in my heart these idiots didn't do anything on the football level till they started realizing, hey, when Dad gets old, man, this is my team.
Well, first off, by the
then
time
they started thinking,
Dean Spanos grew up with growing raisins and almonds, and then you have Mark Davis,
which is not bad.
Yeah, no, and Mark Davis, of course, Dad just acknowledged, that was the mailman's kid, and you're not getting a part of the franchise until I'm gone. And
right. So
Jed York, I would say, is the classic spoiled owner, and so was Ed DeBartolo when he started. Remember, he had 2-2-14 seasons with the Niners after Plunkett, and they cut Plunkett with Joe Thomas until he figured out, gee, I don't know what I'm doing. Why don't I just give it to Bill Walsh?
Well, the other thing with I like you bringing up York. York still looks like it. I mean, without Garoppolo, the Niners are the Cleveland Browns, and that's what this owner is.
And let's give it to John Lynch.
I'll give you a thing. You get it tomorrow. They said you're now the owner of the Raiders. You, Bruce Kessler. All right. You know how much you know about football.
Yes, I do.
How much do you think you would be prepared to be the owner tomorrow? You know that from the moment you start as the owner, it's going to be 10 to 20 years before you can compete. Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm not trying to insult you, but I'm giving you, the thing is, on-the-job training does not work when I'm buying season tickets.
I understand that, but if I delegate authority to people
the right
I think
people
know a bit more than me, then I'm a genius.
You have to be right about that.
You know what? I'm sorry. Yeah. I do know more than anybody I could delegate authority to. I would have that team back on its feet in 2 years.
The only thing I could do the same as the owner of the Raiders is wear sweatpants all day long because I do love that. It's comfortable.
I think really, actually, it's the guys who are scouting the college players. Like Khalil Mack played at Buffalo, right?
I would
small school.
Beautiful.
That's where the general manager is getting information from the scouts. The scouts, I think, are the real deal. And the general manager has to pool that information and then make the correct decision.
I think that's in any sport now. Baseball has taken a nice turn where their image has been a lot better the last few years.
And basketball, too?
Well, basketball's still in there. But the baseball, the thing with basketball, it's only 5 guys. You got 5 starters, and everything else is frill. Mm-hmm. Everything else is speculation. A general manager, after the season starts, his job is kind of done.
Plus, also with basketball, you have less players to deal with on a roster.
Right. That's why they make such crazy money is because you're only paying 5 guys instead of 25 or whatever. And the thing with Khalil Mack is, I want to go back to this Davis factor. He's leaving for the Vegas. Mm-hmm. Okay, this trade does not help the Oakland Raiders whatsoever. It is a disaster.
Nor does it help the Las Vegas Raiders.
Well, that's you know what? I think getting 2 picks is great. I don't see Chicago making those picks worth, end of the... Chicago's not going to run the table now because they got Khalil Mack.
No.
But the thing is...
I have an answer to that when we go on.
Yeah. No, and the whole idea with Khalil Mack is that those 2 picks are going to help the Las Vegas Raiders. They're not going to help the Oakland Raiders, and that's the key. Is this is a time continuum where they're actually thinking in the future. And would the team be staying in Oakland? I would take the trade. I would say wow, but the fact that they're leaving, I don't care who their first round picks. I'm still going to like the Raiders. I'm not going to go crazy.
Okay, well, let me throw this at you. The Raiders picks, except for the year of Khalil Mack and Derek Carr, haven't been good. and you're like since Charles Woodson. And then you're talking about Gruden. When he had Tampa Bay, his picks, not his coaching, didn't pan out as well. I don't see it. I see them going into Vegas being the losers that they are.
No,
I don't. It's going to be. It's just turning into a stumble-bum organization, to be frank. And Chicago, they're going to have the same problem. They've now got the linebackers that are up there with Dick Butkus, up there with the Wilbur Marshalls, Michael Singletaries. But since McMahon and prior to McMahon, they didn't have the quarterbacks to compete within that division. Mitch Trubisky is not better than Kirk Cousins, Matt Stafford, or Aaron Rodgers. Period. That's not they're going to be an under. Okay, so that's where we have the trade. That, in my opinion, that's where the trade ends up, at least for a few years.
No, and the fact that you did it at the end of the season, you got something. It would have been nice if you got those draft. Made this trade maybe in February where you get this year's pick.
Yeah.
But that's ifs and or buts.
Yeah.
But like I said, this new thing with Gruden is we can't say, he's the savior.
I personally think he's right now. This is a man who, to me, who at least was obviously good when he did this.
Right.
Right now, he's gotten out of the booth. He's gotten $10 million, and there's other successes who've come out of the booth. We're looking at John Lynch right now, at least so far as general manager. He looks like an ego that's run amok. That's me.
I don't want to take anything away, and I'm not talking about any specific person, but the problem with being a booth analyst is that if that was me, and I've heard Gruden say this hundreds of times, I would have ran it right up the middle there because there's a gaping hole. Yeah. Of course, if there's a gaping... Okay, we need to know there's a gaping hole before the play begins, not afterwards, and we hear I would have thrown it to that wide open guy there on the 9-yard line. What the hell is he doing?
The only thing is he did coach prior to going into the booth.
But, and we know this as Raider fans... The only reason he beat the Raiders, he beat his own team the year before with Tony. Was it Dungy's team or?
He had Dungy's defense. You're correct.
Yeah, and Tampa Bay barely won. Was it like 3-point win or
where? Over the Raiders?
The Raiders, yeah.
It was a blowout.
What was the final on the Tampa?
It was like 48-20 or something like that. They killed them.
No. You know what I was thinking of?
It was in San Diego, your town. You should know this.
Yeah, well, no, because the spread was only like 2-3 points.
It was. And the Raiders were favored.
Right. And then I think I took the, my bet. In the Super Bowl, I have this betting thing where I just take the points. I don't believe any two teams that get to the Super Bowl, you can analyze AFC versus NFC.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is take points. And, it works. Back in the old days when you had the Niners winning all the Super Bowls and the Dallas Cowboys and Pittsburgh Steelers, no, the favorites won. Mm-hmm. But gambling is now set up to, get as much money. Most professional gamblers like to lean towards the favorites. And that Vegas knows that.
Sure.
The one thing I hear, and it's a big fallacy about gambling, is that they like to talk about, this team is a 1 point or 2 point favorite. We're betting a line where 50% of the money's bet on one side and 50% is bet on the other side. Garbage. If Vegas thinks the New York Jets, or let's just take the Jets and Buffalo for lack of two other teams 5 years ago. If Vegas thinks the Jets are going to win, they're going to make the Buffalo a 1 point favorite because American gamblers, and especially since the thing with the internet gamblers, baseball odds, like the favorite used to always be 2 to 1. We call it minus 200. Now it's 3 to 1. You can't lay a Red Sox bet without getting 3 to 1. This is from internet gambling. They all just jump on the favorites. 90% of sportscasters, they open the paper and say, Jets are a 1 point favorite. Now I got to listen to 20-minute diatribe on why the Jets are going to beat Buffalo, even though before that sportscaster looked at the odds, had no clue who he was going to back. And everybody jumps on the favorites. So
would you like me to start a 20-minute diatribe?
Oh, there you go. On the Jets, please. Yeah, and Terry Bridgewater. And the whole thing with this is a gambling shtick from Vegas to make you bet the wrong team. I know we're not getting totally into gambling. Me and Bruce, we love to bet a little football here and there, and we want to win, but we want to give you good advice. And the whole thing is don't be swayed. Know who you're going to bet before you ever look at the spread.
Well, I look at the spread, but if my mind is kind of made up beforehand, the worst thing you could do is go against your initial instinct. Is what I've noticed. I've noticed. Oh God, yeah. And then when I've changed my mind, it's like I get slapped. Like right now, that Bills Ravens sings Ravens. It's going to happen. I'm not going to back off on that. In an over-under, I have to really decide, but in perfect weather, I see the Raiders maybe scoring 21 points, and I see that defense getting absolutely shellacked by the Rams.
I do like your over. I love over-under bets. It's a little more mathematical than picking a winner.
And weather-related.
Weather-related, but
Not
the
yet.
over-under, the random factor that kills the overs and unders is the pick six. I love
it's killed me many times.
Right, and the whole thing with the pick six is the reason it's
Damn
such
that
a
Trent
lousy way to lose a bet is you have the under, you're 100% right. The defense is smothering an offense. That's what you're betting on.
Yeah.
And if you're betting the under,
Yeah.
and then a pick six happens and throws everything.
Brings back memories of Trent Dilfer and Geno Smith.
I'll give you a good one too. This actually happened in that Stanford game. We had San Diego State and Stanford play, and Stanford was the heavy favorite. But one thing I've noticed in football, both pro and college, is if a team at the end of the first half gets a touchdown, it's 2 minutes. I think that's a backbreaker. Going into the locker room, you didn't hold them. If you hold them to a field goal,
let me throw this at you about that game because I watched it.
Well, I'm talking about any game where.
But it was like San Diego State had it was all them. They'd stopped Bryce Love. Their running back was going for over 100 yards and a half. But there was that one play where he bats the ball in the air, and the quarterback made that stupid play on the safety. But even after that, the defensive lineman bats the ball in the air. He's got the interception. He's not going to score a touchdown. He's too slow. But he's going to be there at the Stanford 30. He's got another 10 yards. And then the ball got slapped out of his hand by the offensive guy, then goes back to Stanford, and then they score the touchdown. At that point, my bet turned into a foreboding of horrible things to come, and that's what exactly happened.
Well, the thing with Stanford is they got their 3 primary guys back, which was Costello, Love didn't go pro, and Whiteside, Whiteside. That guy, they threw 20 passes in his direction and just made him jump ball every defender.
There was lethal.
No way to contain him. This guy is not catching the ball because he's wide open and nobody's near him. This guy is catching the ball because he's mugging the defensive back.
Oh, I saw him mug. I saw him push up.
Oh, my God. And you know what? This guy, they thought, he should go to the pros last year, but he took another year at Stanford, probably to get one of those lousy Stanford degrees,
That's going to get you nowhere.
He's going to work at a hot dog stand after his NFL career. But that guy is going to be in the NFL. I think staying at Stanford for the extra year is fantastic.
Judging by the initial game, I agree.
I'm going to give Cal kudos for their victory over North Carolina, even though they blew the spread.
Yeah.
Well, they still won the game and
you got your Virginia Tech. Come on.
Okay, so North Carolina had about 13 guys on suspension. Okay, well, okay. But the thing is, the Pac-12 North is the baddest division, like in good. The USC, UCLA, they lost their quarterbacks. There's a big drop-off there. Arizona State can make a little noise, but they got a new coach. How good's he going to do?
Yeah.
The North is where the champ's coming from.
It's where the quarterbacks are.
Well, Washington had a great game with Auburn. They barely lost. Had they not given up the touchdown at the very end there, but maybe a field goal, then they had a great chance to come back and kick a field goal themselves.
Yeah.
They did get the ball down to the 40. But they were both ranked in the top 10, Stanford and Washington.
Yeah.
And the only reason you got to give it to Washington is they got the home game. And can Stanford go into Washington territory And that's a big deal in college sports. It's a lot of times it is just a matter of who got the home game.
Yeah. I'd have more faith in Cal going into Washington than Stanford. Let's be
Cal
frank
is
here.
going to be a great team, but they're not. They're going to be lucky to make the bowl
You didn't
game.
hear the bias in my tone, did you?
I absolutely. You know what? I'm not going to listen to that. I don't need. I don't need
Yeah, I
your
know,
negative waves there.
We're supposed to be analysts, not fans.
Yes, exactly. That's not happening. I'm actually just going to keep doing what I do. All my analyzations, if you want to, is that a word?
Analysis.
Analysis. Oh, holy crap! Is that I like to? I do this job or whatever you call this, where we are basically still just. I quit gambling for 12 years, and then I went back to sports betting, and then I quit for another 5 years.
No.
I was 3 years before Bruce got me addicted to it again. And
Such a pusher, man.
yes, pusher man.
Yeah.
And so betting, sports betting is a blast because it is, it is what it is. And,
Well, here's my theory.
Yeah.
With baseball and basketball, it's one where you just do it at the beginning of the year, and then 6 months later you don't worry, and you don't have to worry about it until they're eliminated. Football, it's a weekly thing. There's hype, and you get addicted. I have to admit.
No, I'm going to give you a better. This is on a gambling level. Mm-hmm. This is mathematics. My almost math degree from UC San Diego. The thing about there's a thing called number of plays. Mm-hmm. So you play blackjack. Okay, you could lose $50 in about a minute. That's what it takes to deal a blackjack.
I've done 30 seconds.
Okay. Well, I mean, if it depends. Reno or Vegas type of dealer you got. You can lose that. And the great thing about a sports bet, and this is why I quit. I don't buy scratchers. I don't do none of that other junk. Bingo, none of it.
No.
I bet sports because the bet is made. It's 4 p.m. East Coast games. You have your 7 o'clock swing on your West Coast. Once your bet is made, that's it. Okay, you now have a 3-hour blackjack hand. Win or lose, it takes 3 hours for your bet to be processed.
Unless it's a blowout.
I'm talking about any sport. Hockey, it's 3 hours is just a number. So the whole idea, right, is that when you limit number of plays, the odds are in your favor. Sure. It's a dumb thing, but most people when they go to Vegas, they'll play blackjack till they lose. In other words, you take $1,000 there, you bet $10 a hand.
See, I'm more of a 7-card stud guy. It takes a little time. You get to see the cards, all of that.
Absolutely.
Blackjack is boom, boom, boom.
Well, no, I'm talking about the thing is you can limit football. You bet on the baseball or whatever the 2 games. 10 p.m. The game is over Pacific Standard Time. You have to regroup, resettle, redo your research, which is what we're doing here. And the research, you can't bet until tomorrow, 4 p.m. again. Basketball or whatever sport you're dealing with.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it. So I say, to all you addicted gamblers out there, quit gambling on all that other junk and just bet on sports.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. That's what I've been doing, mainly
love
football.
Your addiction.
I love my addiction, too.
Yeah, that's right.
As long as I don't spend too much money doing it. And there's... and I haven't really looked over all of the other games. I know that you were happy with Atlanta over Philly, which is an interesting pick.
All my college teams not only covered, they actually won the game.
I know, kudos.
Cincinnati, Virginia Tech.
The under on the Washington-Auburn game.
Do you know that I had the under on Notre Dame, and that was 40 points like at halftime, and there's like no scoring in the second half.
I've had that dumb luck happen.
I thought that was a low. I already walked out.
I love those kickers hitting the crossbar.
And I checked. That was what Washington did with Auburn, though. That was kind of sad. They got to the red zone 3 times, and all they got was a field goal that bounced off the upright. That was the only scoring out of 3 times to the end zone. Hey, we're coming to the end of this fine show. Hope we got your addiction going. Hope we got your anti-racist juices flowing. We hope we got to put a little thought in your head. Thank you for listening. It's Left Turn at Alcatraz every Wednesday, 3:30 Pacific Standard. I want to thank Mark Mancini, Mancini Sports, and I want to all our other fine shows: Atlanta, Los Angeles, the Angels, Halo Heat,
Tallahassee.
Dawn. Oh my God! Well, and here we're having brand new shows in I know Chicago and Cleveland. And I think Detroit. God knows why. Do they have sports teams in those cities?
I think so. They're major cities.
Dude, we better research that.
I'm on it, man.
Okay, you are the news team here. So
I am.
Yes.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for anointing me.
That's right. You're the action news team for Left Turn at Alcatraz.
And the action starts this weekend.
I hope you learned something. But if I was a betting man, which I am, I would bet no. Thanks for listening.